on my supper break at work, but I have a hot take. So as I'm sitting scaling my last patient's teeth, okay, I'm sitting there during the clean, and like your mind starts to wander, you start thinking of things, and I was like thinking of back in my days in hygiene school, because I graduated 2023, so it's been a little while now, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn, I would do really well in hygiene school right now. And it's crazy that I would even say that, but hygiene school, looking back on it now, a lot of the things that we were tested on or things they would say to us, it was almost like you needed background knowledge before to even understand what they were telling you. You really do forget, like, everything that I know now, anything that everyone in the dental world knows now, it just becomes like a second nature, right? It's just something that clicks in your brain, but that is not the case for someone that has never learned about something before, and it's so easy to forget. And there were some instructors for sure that would be like, remember, this is your first time learning it, like, don't be so hard on yourself. But when you think about it, a lot of the things that they were talking about, when I look back at it now, I'm like, I was stressing so hard back then, being like, I don't understand and I can't feel this calculus, or I can't. But looking at it now, I'm like, no wonder you couldn't. Like, that was fresh in my brain in a 2-year course. I'm gonna give some examples. So if you didn't do hygiene school, you won't understand this at all. The number one thing I was thinking about as I'm sitting here scaling my patient's teeth, the biggest thing we used to do was assessments, right? So look at the gums. Like, you had to go through this big long assessment before you even started the cleaning. So that's why cleanings in school would take like multiple appointments for multiple hours. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, we used to do this assessment that you would have to say if the gums were red or pink. Okay, this was, and it's so funny to think about now, but this was such a huge thing in my mind when it came to this, because the instructor would come around and look at your assessment and look at what you said for the gums. And it's crazy because you're sitting there looking at these gums. If you looked at someone's gums as a person that doesn't really know too much background, you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, those are pink. But it's crazy because the only time someone's gums are considered pink, even if they're the color pink, is when they're in complete health. And when that means something completely different to me than it does to someone that doesn't know too much about your gums. So complete health means there's no bleeding around the gums when you're scaling. There's no bleeding when you're flossing. There's no recession. There's no pocketing. That is health. And when you think about that, we had to do this before we did anything in the mouth. We were just going by look. And that's the crazy part, because right now, if you're just looking in someone's mouth, you're not like poking or anything. Okay, someone just came in their car beside me, so I got embarrassed. Okay, so after, my braid's coming out. Okay, after you're done doing the cleaning, after you're done flossing, polishing, probing, everything, you can see if a patient was bleeding, you can see how their gums are reacting to you, and that is where you determine, are they healthy or are they not? So it's so crazy to me that in my fresh brain in hygiene, they were expecting us to look at it and say, is it pink or red? Everyone then, like, if you're bleeding, you're red, you know what I mean? So that's the first thing that I'm like, holy shit. Like, and I was so hard on myself for not grasping that. Okay, second thing, when they used to tell me to use my x-rays as I'm going through my cleaning, I was like, what are you talking about? In your x-rays, if someone has so much tartar, so much calculus that you can see it in your x-rays, you have so much tartar, because these x-rays are only seeing things that are dense, right? So if you have a tiny little bit of granular, like sandy, like sand speckle, like calculus in your teeth, you're not seeing that on the x-ray. So the whole time I'm sitting there and these instructors are telling me use your x-rays, I'm like, what is she talking about? Like, anyways, that's a big one that I'm like, holy shit. But like, you don't learn that until you're out in private practice and you're seeing these mouths, and you can kind of tell, like, when you look in someone's mouth, you're like, or someone hasn't been to the dentist in a long time, or it's like vice versa. Like, you're gonna see the calc in the x-rays, you're gonna see the calc in the mouth, or if it's underneath the gums, you know what I mean? So that's a crazy one. Did I have another one? Okay, last one was being able to feel the calculus when you were going underneath. I don't know about you, but how many people are actually going in and exploring each tooth to feel the calculus? Not me. Like, right now, I go in and around each and every tooth with my different instruments, and you're doing like different strokes, like exploratory versus like the taking the calc off to feel that there's calculus, or even using the floss. I am a big one for loving, like I'm a big one that, like, after you're finished the whole cleaning, you're going in, you're using the floss to really feel the surfaces of the tooth, use the x-rays, use the Explorer, whatever, okay? In hygiene school, I was so embarrassed that I could not feel calculus. And I couldn't up until, like, the minute I graduated. I could not feel the calculus. I don't know what was wrong with me. My tactile sense just felt weird, but now I understand what they were saying. But now I'm also 3 years into my career that I understand how to really feel for calculus. Like, you don't only have to use your Explorer. You can use so many other things to feel for it. Yeah, the Explorer, I can do that now, but that, it's mind-blowing to me. I don't even know, but there's just like a list of so many things there that, looking back on it now, I should not have been as hard on myself that I was. So if you're in hygiene school right now, like, please take this from me. So I've been a hygienist since June of 2023. It's now May of 2026, so almost 3 years. And I am finally, this is crazy that this is the first time this has ever happened, but I am finally being like, wow, I really was way too hard on myself in hygiene school. And the hot take of it is that not a lot of the instructors, like, can get, like, through their head sometimes that the reason why these young girls in their, like, early 20s, or even if you're taking it later in life, the reason why they don't understand, like, they're not grasping it, is because it's the experience. It really is. And I know they only have a limited time. It's only 2 years, but it's insane. The things that, it's like, I would excel right now, like, knowing what you know. It's just, and I guess that's the way it's supposed to work. So that is my thought of the day.